Alright, what's going on, guys? Trev back again, here to bring you another video. This one's going to be doing our second Q&A for this week, leading up to the mid-season finale for The Walking Dead Season 8. To start with, in this one, we're going to give our thoughts more in depth on the survivor that was found hanging upside down near the water tower in Episode 7. And spoiler warning, if you haven't seen Episode 7 yet, by the way, I also do have in the channel a review for Episode 7, which you can watch. I'll have it in the end videos screen for this video, as well as my predictions for what I think is going to happen in the mid-season finale. And yesterday we did one giving our thoughts on the recording that was taken between Eugene and Dwight, sort of accidentally, maybe, well, from Eugene's perspective, maybe it was on purpose or just kind of worked out that way. But about, of course, Dwight being a traitor and actually fighting for the survivors. So mid-season finale coming up this weekend. Very exciting. Can't wait to see it. Lots of crazy stuff in Episode 7, kind of jam-packed in there. So going through a few things, after the episode's airing and giving kind of more of our thoughts, like the recording one video yesterday. If you didn't see it yet, check it out. Like I said, it's in the channel, and you'll know all about it. So this one came in from Davis Fleming, who said, "Hey Trev, did you notice that the body that was hanging from the water tower had its face removed? I'm thinking it was the Whispers. What are your thoughts?" So for the body that was hanging near the water tower where Rick finds it at the end of Episode 7, it's a pretty cool one. It's it's kind of gross too, but at the same time, it's kind of cool because it's a pretty heavy Easter egg, I want to say, for comic book fans. Maybe some foreshadowing as to the fate of a certain character. There is a major character death in the series during the Whisper War, in pretty much that same sort of way. You have a character who accidentally kind of falls upside down on a water tower and during the war, and that is the character's death. It's a really brutal death too. It's a really bad one. So as we kind of got to see with the whatever character that was, I'm guessing at this point it was just basically a red shirt, but it did have what seemed to be like a white type of band around its shirt. So that was, I think, from earlier this season. Daryl was wearing one of those, so I think that's for Alexandria, is the white ones. But I'd have to check back to verify that. But I'm pretty sure that's what color they were. So that survivor, I guess we could say, is a red shirt character from Alexandria that we just never kind of saw earlier. There's probably going to be many of those. During the war, it's just kind of how it is, right? So, but the way I took it was that the zombies had been eating that survivor. Well, not a survivor anymore, but that was hanging upside down. A member of Rick's group, if you want to say that. The Rick's group is called the Survivors in the comic series. So if you guys wonder why do you call them Survivors, Trev, it's not necessarily because they're all still alive. It's because that's the name that Robert Kirkman gave to them in the comic book series. You have the Kingdom, you have the Hilltop, you have the Survivors, you have the Saviors, right? Or you could just say Rick's group if you want to say it that way. But my take on that one was mainly that he was hanging there, and he was actually, unfortunately eaten by the zombies that were around, so they kind of were going at him, which is really brutal, right? But I don't interpret it as like the Whispers were actually there and actually, took a skin from him and then left him there or something like that. Like as if they would know about the war right now. No, this is way too early, I think, and it just wouldn't be the right time to start to introduce the Whispers. It wouldn't make sense to do it this way, because all that war is still, well underway. They got enough stuff going on. That would just be like throwing too much in there, I think, to add something like that in at this point. But that for sure is something I'm excited for, which is to see more and more sort of Easter eggs or set up things for the Whispers. I'm sure we'll see some near the end of the season, and maybe Heath's return near the end of the season. Should be cool. So it should be good stuff. But yeah, that's the way I interpreted that. I didn't interpret it as, they had actually come through. I interpreted it as that's just what happened to it. And it's an Easter egg. It's like, the PvP card in Season 7. And, something like that. Just kind of getting us ready. Just getting warmed up. Maybe a little foreshadowing there. Maybe a little bit, but we'll have to see if they even, when they adapt the Walking Dead comic book series to the TV series, we don't even know if they're going to adapt that death from the comics verbatim. It could be different. It could be a different character. That character may not even be alive at that point because they could be killed off earlier. So there's a lot of possibilities there with what they're going to do, and there's just way too early to say at this point, since that would be seasons out at this point. So at this point, I'm just going to say it's an Easter egg. Dunny2K says, "Hey Trev, in July last year, we got news that John Bernecker, rest in peace, had passed away after falling off the sanctuary and failing to land on his safety mat. The scene was supposed to take place in episode 7. We didn't see it, so they obviously didn't end up going with that scene. What do you think would have happened if they successfully filmed that scene? Would Dwight or Eugene get pushed off the sanctuary roof and get injured or die? Did this possibly change the whole story arc for one of these characters?" So I don't think so. I'm not sure who John Bernecker would have been stunt doubling at that point, or if it was just kind of if he would have just been playing like a random, like a savior at that point. It could have been. And I'm not 100% sure it would be from episode 7. It seems about right, though. Like what you're saying seems about where you would probably see that. It probably would not have been in the premiere based on when it happened, because that would have been more like May or June type of time frame. So I think you're right. I think it probably was from episode 7, somewhere there when the zombies came in, that they were probably filming some kind of scene for that, maybe a survivor falling off or something, or I'm not sure, man. As far as the specifics of the scene, what happened so far overshadows whatever they were trying to do, So that's why we probably won't ever get an explanation of that unless there's some kind of tribute to him on the Blu-ray or DVD for the work that he's done on The Walking Dead. And because it is definitely tragic that, you're filming a show, you're trying to entertain everybody. There are some pretty big stunts this season. You see, like, a freaking garbage truck being driven into a wall, and, car chases, and like all this different stuff. And they have to do them pretty quickly. They don't have time like you would for a movie. So it's pretty fast paced, and it's difficult for them to do. And yeah, that's absolutely horrible that happened. It probably was in episode 7, but it probably, most likely they cut the whole scene entirely. It was probably something to do with that. At first I thought maybe it was something in the premiere where when the survivors were shooting up at the windows, maybe a savior was like up there or something, and that's what he was playing. He would have got knocked down. But based on timing, you're probably right. It probably was from episode 7. And there was just no telling. It could have been maybe something with Dwight, because he's pretty skinny, and maybe that could match. Jeez, man. I don't even know. It's really hard to speculate on that one, on what the scene would have been and whether or not we'll ever really know. The only thing I can think of is if there's some tribute footage in the Blu-ray DVD, maybe you can watch that and kind of figure it out based on that. But to me, I'm just saying, like, it doesn't really matter. I mean, it's a good choice for them to basically taken that whole thing out if they had to. Just because someone in real life died. It's totally different when, like we enjoy talking about and doing predictions on who we think will be killed off for fictional characters in the show, and there's certainly nothing wrong with that. But, of course, when someone actually dies in real life, it's like, oh, shit, you know what I mean? They broke that wall, so to speak, and someone actually died. And so it's, it's not, definitely not, not good stuff anymore, right? It's not exciting anymore or anything like that. So maybe we'll never know 100%, but, again, as well, too, I'm just taking that as some kind of scene in there, probably a random savior doing something, maybe fighting off some zombies or something. And, goddamn, yeah, that's rough for sure. So that's about all I can leave that one. You guys can speculate if you want to, but I almost think it's kind of in bad taste. We'll touch on it, but like you said, but I think that's probably about as far as I want to go with it, just because, even discussing it's kind of in poor taste. Corey Van Horn says, Q&A, did you notice the walker with the skin taking off its face, the last one Rick killed at the water tower? The whispers must be close. I think with regards to the whispers that he killed, yeah, you're talking about the same one that was hanging down. The other ones all have their faces. So yeah, I don't take it as the whispers were actually there. I take it as an Easter egg for the whispers, for us, the audience. That's what I think. Because I don't think it would make sense to have the whispers involved in the plot already. Brian Joseph says, am I the only one who loves the garbage people? Jadis is oddly hot for some reason. I cannot explain. They probably are all mentally disabled pre-zombie apocalypse and just banded together from that. the sculpting bit was hilarious. I don't know, they're fun. Haters can hate. So I guess it depends which side they're on. You know, if they help Rick out and the survivors out, then I would tend to like them more, because then they're good guys. They're like, oh yes, they're going to help. They're going to bring their their dump trucks and all that stuff, and they're going to mess some shit up, right? I mean, I don't know about your comments about Jadis. I don't know if I'm going to comment about that one. Super weird too. The sculpting part was hilarious. It was what it is. But it would be interesting to see like I don't know if you probably wouldn't do a whole episode for that. I don't think you could do an entire flashback episode of what happened, how the garbage people came to be. I don't think it's flashback worthy, but it would be a little interesting to hear maybe just some dialogue about how they became the way they have. But it's long enough into the zombie apocalypse now that I could see them as being regular everyday people. Maybe a few of them actually worked there. Maybe a few of them, like, that was where they made their living, at the junkyard, so they knew it really well. And, and then everything went to hell, and they kind of lost their humanity a bit over the years. So, or maybe they were just trying to stay quiet and really blend in, so they didn't talk a whole lot over the years, and that's just kind of the way they evolved, or they changed into how they are now. But you think they're a bunch of people escaped from an insane asylum or something? They like all band together and go there together. I don't know. I mean, I guess you could see that. They certainly are pretty funny. The reason why I like them is because they remind me of like some kind of like 80s, like maybe like Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, because I remember Shredder had like this this junkyard in the movie version. There was like a junkyard where they were in, I think in the second one, Secret of the Ooze, right? So that's kind of why I like them, is they remind me of like that kind of stuff, that I remember seeing from when I was younger. For other people, it's like Garbage Pail Kids, so that's something that they remember, and that's why they like the Junkyard Group. I just think they're kind of, I think they've added a lot to All Out War. They've added to the excitement of All Out War. They've improved it, and I do think that when this is all said and done, the TV series version of All Out War may be even better than the comic book series version was, because they've added a lot to it, and it's been really exciting, man. That's one thing about this season, I think, is they're giving us tons of action. They're spacing it out pretty good. They're having some twists and some drama and some care dev in there too. And I've been really, really enjoying it. I know that Walking Dead is not hottest right now for people as it was a couple years ago, but still, I think they're doing a lot with it, and it's been really cool. Jay Moore says, Josh McDermott absolutely killed it this episode. I don't know about you, Trev, but would love to hear your thoughts on this one. Yeah, man, he did a great job. He's fantastic, dude. Him and Michael Cudlitz, who played Abraham, the two of them, I loved their banter back and forth. It was hilarious. In this episode, we got to see that Eugene or Josh can do funny dialogue with other characters too, like Dwight. Maybe it's not as funny as it was with Abraham, but the chomping down on the chode line was pretty funny in the episode. It's because, like, did you guys remember that Eugene bit him in the dick? Come back and what was that, season 6? Was that season 6 now? Holy shit! That's. I almost think it's like, should that be season 7? For some reason, my mind wants to put it in season 7, but I'm pretty sure it was season 6 when he bites down. That's funny. Second half. And Dwight's kind of like he's like a main villain in that part, right? So in the second half of season 6, he's part of what made season 6 so great. But he's awesome, man. Josh McDermott does an awesome job as Eugene, and he's really, really funny. Last one will be from Tyler9698, who says, Trev, are you at all as excited for tonight's episode or the mid-season finale? He sent this in just before the episode 7. As you have been in the past, I really missed the excitement I had back during the season 4 to 5 era. I still like season 8, but something about it, I can't capture that same interest I used to have. And so, let's end with this one, and let's have you guys rate your comments below. How are you guys feeling about this right now? I think, objectively, when you look at what they're doing and you compare it to some of the prior seasons, it's pretty easy to see it's bigger budget. You have more characters, you have more things happening, you have more action, the show has grown. It's a larger world, but you have bigger groups, you have more kind of characters because you have Negan and their side, and then you have all the different sides of the different groups. For some reason, it doesn't feel as exciting or as hot as it did from seasons, like you said, 4 to 5. For me, it'd be like 5, 6, and then the start to 7. yeah, it doesn't quite feel like I don't get as like for this mid-season finale. Some people have asked Trevor, "Are you going to do death predictions, that kind of stuff?" I don't know. It's pretty much the week of now. Time is flying by so fast. I might not even do it for this year, and I don't know why. It's just kind of like, I'm not sure. So maybe it's just because they've done 100 episodes or something like that, or I'm just not sure. But I mean, I'm really enjoying the episodes. I am still pretty excited for it. Maybe not quite as excited as I was for like the season 7 premiere. Maybe it's because that might be like the season 7 premiere episode might be the most hyped episode I have ever seen for a TV series. I mean, I was more hyped for that episode than I've ever been for any other series ever. Game of Thrones, anything else. That was like the most hype release ever to figure out who Negan killed. So even though it was a pain in the ass that we had to wait from season 6 finale to season 7 to see the premiere, it was just such a hyped, huge premiere. That was the most hyped I've ever been for Walking Dead for sure. But I'm still enjoying it a lot this season. I see what they're doing. It's very exciting. And the final confrontation between Rick and Negan, maybe near the end of the season or whenever they do it, that could be really exciting too, to see the final kind of fight between the two when it all goes down, and to see what happens at the end of the season. So that said, though, I do think this might be one of the best seasons they ever do. So I mean, again, people have given their life for this season, right? So they put a lot into this season. You can see it. You can see when you look at just the scale of everything. It's so big and so huge for a TV series. It's very close to movie kind of quality that you would expect to see from a big budget movie or something. So, so that's kind of the best I can comment for you, Tyler. I get what you're saying, brother. It's not like I'm not on the same page with you. I totally feel what you're feeling, that it's not quite as exciting as it was at some of the parts before. But I still think it's super exciting, and it's been a lot of fun. And it's hard to keep up the same kind of interest or excitement in something for many, many years on end. 3-4 years on end, it's tricky to keep that same kind of fan interest or that same kind of excitement going for that long. A lot of it for a lot of fans died out during season 7, probably just because of the peak of 7 premiere, and then afterwards, a lot of slowdown with the series and switch up, and things getting bigger, more characters in that, and them kind of falling off. But yeah, man, I mean, very nostalgic, those seasons for sure at this point already for me. But I'm very excited for the season finale. And I'm excited for the second half of season 8 to see how excited I feel when we get to the week of release for when it returns and that, to see kind of where we're at. So leave your comments below. Let me know how you guys are feeling. Are you excited for this mid-season finale? Are you not? Maybe we can touch more on that in a later Q&A this week. But also let me know what you think about kind of these little Easter eggs and things that they're leaving for the Whispers to get us started for that, as well as any thoughts on the other questions we covered today. And send me more questions if you guys want to see videos all week. Otherwise, we may have to have like a day where I don't do a video, be it like Friday or Saturday or something. If you guys like this video, please thumb it up below. You can share, you can favorite. And if you're new and you want to subscribe to the channel, I would appreciate it. And you can do it. You can subscribe at the bottom left. That's it for this one. I'll see you guys again soon for another video. As always, this is Trev, and I'm saying peace. Later, guys. See you soon. Just subscribe somehow.